that cool?
You can take some time if you want to think about an answer if you want.
It will be edited.
So yeah, just kind of I kind of tried to have the aerials do is just kind of restate the question as part of your answer, like.
Okay, because you're not going to have them on there.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it'd be like, what makes a really good scene partner is someone who, things like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then kind of look towards her more than the camera itself. So.
Look away and look at me.
All right, so I'm rolling whenever you two are ready.
All right. What sort of person is going to love this show?
Oh gosh, I think both humans and deep sea creatures alike will enjoy the show a lot.
What's challenging about bringing the script to life?
On this particular show, I'd say it's probably a couple of things that are pretty challenging to bring the script to life. Number one, you're competing against the movie. Everybody has, well, I guess almost everybody has probably seen the movie and they know it all, but this show is a little bit different. There are a few new threads which are really interesting, but to bring those threads out and to make the show a little bit more interesting than just the old Disney movie. And then secondly, it's also pretty technically intense because you have to be underwater for a lot of this, and how do you pull that off at the same time as you have lots of stuff that's not underwater? So I think technically it's pretty difficult, but also story-wise it's going to be challenging.
Why did you want to be involved in this production?
Tim threatened me with bodily harm if I didn't audition for the show.
What will the audience be thinking about in the car as they drive home after this show?
In the car on the way home, they are hopefully going to be thinking about a story that's pretty familiar to them, but in a different way. The telling is a little bit different. There's new music that people are not going to be familiar with, and hopefully it's going to be a more fulfilling, a more complete experience with the story.
How is this production bringing something new to this story?
This production has a lot of new elements to it. There are several new threads as far as how characters relate to one another. There are a few new storylines that are going to be very interesting, and there are certainly several new songs that are just beautiful that they've added to this production. So there's lots of newness for people that are even very familiar with the show.
What's going to surprise people about this show?
What's going to surprise people? I think one of the things that will surprise people about this show is the amount of talent that we have. There's a lot of first-time talent that is in this show, and they're doing a tremendous job. There's a lot of youth in this show, which makes it very fun for me because I'm like one of the oldest people in the cast. And so I think just the cohesion, the family that we've kind of created here is going to be very, very cool for everybody.
Call someone out by name. Who must come see this production?
Oh gosh, Danielle has to come and see this production. She has been taking care of my hair and beard for me for quite some time, but she has not come to a show at the Majestic. And so she has to come and see this. In fact, I was just talking to her today about that very thing. Get your tickets now because it's going to sell out.
Who in the show is most like their character?
Let's see. I think in this show, the people that are most like their characters, I would have to say me for one. Being a father of a young daughter and someone who's coming of age, so it's something that I can definitely relate to. I think I probably would get in a lot of trouble if I said that my wife was very much like her character of Ursula, so I'm going to leave that off. What's neat for me is I haven't gotten to come every night to rehearsal because I'm not in a lot of scenes, and so it's going to be very new for me to get to see people that I've never seen do things that they've never done, and so I'm looking forward to actually learning more about people in their roles. But
Who's the least like their character in the show?
the least like their character? Oh, okay, this is a safe one then where I can say, yes, the person least like their character would absolutely be my wife, who plays the role of Ursula. She is nothing at all like an evil sea witch.
How is this character like you?
This character that I play, King Triton, is very much like me. I am not a single father, but I am a father of a young daughter and someone who is coming of age, someone who is accustomed to being in control a lot more of the activities and events that surround my life, and having to yield some of that to wiser people and my daughter at the same time.
character different than you?
How is the character different? Well, I'm not a king, though I am not opposed to ruling a small country. I am not a solo dad. My wife and I make a great team, I think, and so that's something that is a little bit different for me to try to draw from. And also don't consider myself an authoritarian. King Triton is not exactly a dictator, but he is a ruler, and he's very accustomed to getting his way, and he's not gruff, but he's also very forceful when he speaks. He's very formal, and so those are some differences that I have to contend with.
Is it easier to play this character or to be yourself on stage?
Is it easier for me to play myself or this character? I think you have to inject yourself into the character. You have to find some common ground in order to portray the character at all. So there must be some kind of commonality, which there is, and that's nice. But I always find it's more fun if you can get lost in the character and actually be that person while you're there, even if it's a complete play.
What do you love about this character?
I love that he is facing things that I will not have to face, vis-a-vis 7 daughters. That I'm sure would be quite trying, and I actually have some friends that have had to deal with that, and I'm glad it's not me.
What's the biggest challenge about taking on this role?
The biggest challenge about taking on this role? I've had to grow a lot of hair, both on top and on the face, and this is more than I've ever had in my entire life, and it's very challenging. I'm getting lots of tips from my wife and daughter on hair care. Yeah.
Without giving anything away, what's your favorite line of dialogue?
Oh my gosh, favorite line of dialogue. There's so many great lines that you can go through in this. I love hearing Sebastian say that he has no backbone. I laugh at that every time. Probably one that I think lots of guys, other than myself, who are younger and dealing with how to talk to girls, which I never had any trouble with at all, would be Eric when he is finally on a boat with the girl that he's been seeking, and they're in a very romantic setting, and the best thing he can come up with is, so, how's the weather? So I feel that really reaches a lot of guys, not me.
Besides yourself, which actor in this production is going to blow people away?
Oh my gosh, there's so many neat surprises in this show as far as actors go. I love our Scuttle. I think he's going to be fantastic. We have absolutely adorable flounders that are not exactly new to theater, but they're new to the size of a group maybe, and they're just doing a tremendous job. I love both of our Ursulas. I think that they will probably wind up, almost stealing this show because they both portray the character just different enough that you'll want to come and see them both. But I think probably the most, if I can collectively say, blown away group is going to be the Merce sisters. My daughters, they're just fantastic. They're funny, they're over the top, they have amazing numbers, but I think they're really going to blow people away.
If you could play any other character in the show, who would it be?
If I could play any other character in this show, probably it would be Grimsby. I feel like I've got a lot in common with Grimsby. I really understand him. If I really got to go way out on a limb, I would of course want to be Ursula, because who doesn't want to be a sea witch and have very large show-stopping numbers and get to order people around all the time, and yeah.
What makes a good scene partner?
Oh gosh. I think a good scene partner is someone who will be in the scene with you and listen to what's being said and have genuine reaction. I think always the role of a scene partner is to make the partner look as good as you can. So make it not about you. Keep the focus on them and play from that person.